Sidebar is the official podcast of the Napa County District Attorney's Office. Hello, everyone. This is Carlos Villatoro, and this is the Sidebar podcast, the official podcast of the Napa County District Attorney's Office. So February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. Now, this is a serious topic, and it doesn't get a lot of coverage. So here at the Sidebar podcast, we figured that we would talk about this topic, and who better to talk about it with than Adella from our Victim Services Division here at the Napa County District Attorney's Office. Adella, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Thank you for joining us on the Sidebar podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Adella, you recently attended a training, right?
Yes.
For victim advocates.
Mm-hmm.
And this topic was covered during that training. So tell me, how did the training go?
It was a great opportunity for us to come together, to be able to learn off of each other, learn different skill sets, to be able to provide services to our victims and better assess the needs that they have, and making those referrals out to get them the assistance that they need.
Teen dating violence is something that we often don't hear about. But man, oh man, I can tell you, growing up in Napa, at Napa High School, I would see this in the hallways as I was passing by or going to class or whatever, and I would see couples arguing. I would see them, upset, and I would think, I'm glad I'm not them.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered when I would see this, why do teens stay in relationships when they are being treated poorly by their boyfriend or girlfriend?
So this is, I think, a topic that's important, especially within middle school and high school students that are now starting to explore relationships and kind of getting into relationships with people that they think that they'll be with forever.
Yeah.
But
young love.
Yeah,
young puppy love.
But they think that it's love, and they're convinced that the actions that their boyfriend or girlfriend are doing, are justifiable, that it's because that they care about them and they stay because they're not aware that it's abuse. There's not much awareness with schools that there's domestic violence within these young relationships that are now starting to flourish.
Now, how much of that, though, is due to culture? Because I know in the Hispanic culture, especially, there's machismo at play. The relationships are imbalanced.
Yeah.
So how much of that would you say is because of factors such as cultural issues or just other issues?
I would say that's a huge factor, especially because dating violence is rooted at home. These young teens, unfortunately, are witnessing and experiencing domestic violence within their parents' relationships, and they're seeing it firsthand. And because it's, in quotes, normal to them to see it at home, it's going to be normal for them to go ahead and put it into their relationships that they're currently having. And unfortunately, that's a big factor that plays into the cycle of domestic violence. And it's sad to see that at times many of these young teens, once they see it at home, then they become either the abuser or the victim in their relationships themselves. So definitely culture plays a really big role, especially like you said with machismo and the Hispanic community. A lot of people see it at home, and in the culture, it's in quotes normal.
Yeah,
it's normal. The woman is submissive to their male partner.
El hombre manda, right?
Yeah, el hombre manda.
And that means that the man, more or less, wears the pants in the family. In the Hispanic culture, and it's something that we grew up with. I'm not saying that's right, but it's a reality that we have grown up with.
Of course. And I would say that also with that, there's a lot of factors that play into that machismo of the woman staying at home and the woman having to cook, clean, take care of the kids. The husband goes out to work, and then he comes home to certain expectations for the house, certain expectations for the wife, the children. So once it's being seen at home, then it gets, inputted into these young teen love relationships.
Yeah, and but then not necessarily is domestic violence, though, right? It's when there's abuse involved. And a lot of people think of domestic violence, they think as it can be something quite physical. Where there's marks. Mom being hit by dad or boyfriend or girlfriend, and there's a black guy involved, or, there's a scratch involved. But a lot of domestic violence, you can't see it.
No.
Right? So tell me about that. Talk to me
So,
about that.
some of the signs aren't even visible to just outside people. Abuse comes in different forms. It can be verbal, emotional, financial abuse. It also involves sexual abuse, even though within sexual abuse, if your partner, even though you're not putting harm on them, you're still, if they don't want to have a sexual relationship with you, if they don't want to have any kind of intimacy in that aspect, and you're forcing them to, that's also included as abuse.
But what about when talking about teenagers, though?
For teenagers, though, the cycle and signs of teen dating violence, a lot of it can be like harassment. If you decide to end the relationship and they're still continuously trying to reach out to you to try to get you to come back with them, intimidation, they're constantly yelling at them or trying to show some sort of like anger to put fear into them, violating their privacy, going through their phones. Yeah, going through their phones, their purse, their backpacks without even consent from the victim, saying that, you can go ahead and go through that. Other things, us trying to control their independence, not allowing them to wear certain things that make them happy. Definitely seen a lot nowadays is like girls getting their nails done or having their makeup. Their partners are like, no, I don't want you to wear that much makeup. You're not doing that. Yeah, or your nails are too long, or I don't like your nails, or kind of.
Because you're going to attract another boyfriend.
Yeah, of course, and that's part of that jealousy portion of. Then it becomes abuse because they're jealous.
In high school, there used to be girls, and they would talk loud back then. So I would be in class, like in algebra or whatever. And I would hear one girl say to the other, I can't be friends with you anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So-and-so told me that I can't.
Yeah.
I got to just hang out with him. So.
Yeah. That's another big thing is limiting friendships, isolating the victims. The abuser will tend to isolate them from speaking to certain people because they don't like them, or hanging out with them. You have to be with me all the time. I want you to hang out with me at school, after school, and also like limiting their extracurricular activities, like saying, oh, I don't want you to play this sort of sport or join this kind of academy or team because I want you to be with me all the time. And even with the signs of the teen dating violence, it's not only that the abuser is always the male. It can also be that the abuser is a female.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why is it so hard for them to pull away, though? Is it just because they're not mature enough to know that this is happening to them, or
that can be part of it. Like I said earlier, it can also be that they think that it's love, that their behavior is because that they care about them. Influences of social media is a big thing right now too, is a lot of like videos on TikTok or Instagram that are like, this is how a relationship should be. So they're being influenced by other individuals and say, oh, this is how my relationship should be. And the way that they're treating me, it's okay because it's the social norm.
So everything becomes an Instagram post.
It can be.
Me and my boo having movie night or date night. Aren't you jealous of that?
Yeah, it can be that, but it also can be like nowadays with the videos of like, oh, I'm going through my girlfriend's phone or my boyfriend's phone because I suspect this. And, you know, the thing is that you're not given permission to just go through somebody's phone or even like, oh, yeah, you know, I don't want them to hang out with such and such person. They can only hang out with me. And, you know, there's videos out on TikTok about that. And then they're like, oh, well, you know, they're right. They shouldn't have to hang out with boys or girls.
Well, then, so if you post a video, the person who posts a video like that, then they get the thumbs up or the thumbs down, and they get the comments. So, yeah, you're right. How dare them do that, or whatever, and that just
it's a continuous. Increases. It increases. It's a continuous kind of cycle of like being influenced by other relationships and what they think is a norm, that you should be treated this way, and that's what love is, and that's how your relationship should be.
So what would your advice be to someone who is in a relationship, as you have described, where, you know, the partner may be controlling, they may not be hitting them or abusing them physically in that sense, but maybe they're checking their phones, or they're limiting who they can hang out with, or they're demanding sex a lot of the times. So what would be some advice for a person in that situation, or if your child or your friend is in a situation?
No, that's a great
like that?
question. Actually, one of the trainers there at the Victim Witness Academy that I went to talked about one of her experiences with a student. She works really close with students at schools, primarily high school students, but she had a young male come to her to tell her, hey, you know, my girlfriend is starting to limit me from hanging out with specific people because she says that she doesn't trust them. It's not that she doesn't trust me. It's just, you know, it's always them. So, you know, I don't know if I should stop hanging out with them. Like, what will you suggest? Like, he sought help and assistance from an adult person at school to see if they can give them the assistance. And, you know, she went ahead and let him know, you know, that's part of teen dating violence. That's not okay. She shouldn't be limiting your independence and, you know, isolating you from your friends or your family. It can be also family that, you know, your partner is limiting you from seeing or hanging out with or talking. But I would definitely suggest that if you're witnessing this, if your friend is being abused and you're seeing this kind of violence, definitely speak up. If it's physical, definitely call law enforcement. Be honest with them about the situation. Let them know what's going on. You want to get your friend help. If you yourself are being abused and you're starting to see that, hey, you know, my partner is telling me that I can't wear this, or I have to ask for permission to go to this place, or I shouldn't be friends with this other person, they're constantly going through my phone. And you're starting to see those signs. Speak to an adult. Talk to counselors.
Have
or
that
teachers.
conversation.
Talk to your parents. I know that sometimes that can be a touchy subject of going to your parents to talk to them about what's going on in your life, especially as, you know, teens. But your parents are also there for you. But most importantly, just try to get that help. I know that here in Napa, we have a great program called Youth Matters with the organization called News.
That's one of our partners, yes.
Yeah, so that's one of the agencies that we work really close with, and they have that program, and they're designed to have staff go out to these schools to give presentations on the cycle of domestic violence and teach students about healthy relationships. They bring teachers along with them and social workers to be able to provide that information to students.
That's a good resource.
Yeah, it's open to the public. You can self-refer yourself. If you're experiencing violence, or if you're seeing somebody else going through, you know, teen dating violence, and you want to get more information to be able to provide to your friend, that's a good resource to go to just listen in.
And we'll post all of this information in this video so that you guys can get the help if you need it. Yes.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, News also has a 24-hour domestic violence and sexual abuse line that if you have just concerns and you need to speak to somebody, you can always reach out to them. They're there to help you, to get you the help that you need, and be able to help you get out of your situation where you're being victimized and help you become a survivor.
Excellent. That's excellent information. That we will include that in the description of this video as well as in the video. Our excellent media tech will make sure that that information is there. And I'm looking at her right now, and she's smiling. Well, thank you. Now, is there anything I didn't ask you that you feel would be important to add to this conversation?
I think just most importantly for our teens is get help. Get the help that you need. If you're in this type of relationship and you're seeing yourself constantly, being isolated or limiting, or your privacy is being violated, you're being forced to do certain things that you're not okay with, or that you don't want to do, you can't wear what you like to wear, you have to ask for permission or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's people out there to help you. Definitely check in with your teachers, your counselors, talk to an adult, and seek assistance from law enforcement if it's physical.
And even if you don't think, or if you don't know for sure, right? It's beneficial to seek out that help, that conversation.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Sidebar podcast. That is going to be it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and give it a thumbs up. And we will see you next time on the Sidebar podcast. Thank you, Adella.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.